Imagine, if you will, a life as serene as a still pond, where each day unfolds with the gentle predictability of the seasons. At 57, I had embraced this tranquility with open arms, my days filled with the simple joys of gardening in the morning, losing myself in the pages of historical novels in the afternoon, and spending quiet evenings with my beloved husband Mark. After over 3 decades of marriage, I thought our days of unexpected turns were long behind us. Oh, how delightfully wrong I was. It all began on a seemingly ordinary Friday evening, a dinner party at the home of Jeff and Allison. Jeff, Mark's younger colleague at 48, was a man whose charisma could light up any room, his silver hair as striking as his confident air. Allison, his wife, was the epitome of grace, her warmth turning even the simplest of meals into memorable events. Their home, a charming colonial nestled in the suburbs, greeted us with neatly trimmed hedges and an inviting front porch. As we crossed the threshold, the soft strains of jazz from hidden speakers mingled with the enticing aroma of roasting garlic and fresh herbs, creating an atmosphere that whispered of comfort and elegance. The dining room, bathed in the gentle glow of candlelight, cast dancing shadows on walls painted in soothing hues of beige and pale blue. "Come on in, Melanie. So glad you could make it." Allison's voice smooth as the jazz enveloped me in a warm embrace, instantly dissolving any hint of evening jitters. "Thanks, Allison." I responded, my smile as broad as the welcome she extended. "It smells absolutely divine in here." Settled around the table, Jeff, with his deep, resonant voice, poured the wine his tales from a recent trip abroad, weaving a tapestry of laughter and camaraderie. The conversation flowed as freely as the wine, each anecdote more amusing than the last, setting the stage for an evening that would, unbeknownst to me, alter the very fabric of my peaceful existence. As the evening unfolded, Mark's cheerful demeanor was palpable, a testament to his relief in escaping the daily grind of his demanding career. The moment dessert graced our table, a divine chocolate mousse crowned with vibrant raspberries, Jeff caught my gaze, his voice soft and inviting. "Melanie, Mark tells me you have a green thumb. My roses, well, they've seen better days. Could you spare some advice?" I couldn't help but laugh, a gentle, flattered chuckle escaping me. "I wouldn't say I'm particularly skilled, Jeff, just patient, but I'd love to help. Perhaps after dinner." His eyes held mine for a fleeting moment, igniting a subtle warmth in my neck, which I dismissed as mere imagination. After indulging in the sweet delicacy, Jeff led me through a sliding door onto a patio that seemed to dance in the moonlight. The cool night air whispered secrets through the trees, intertwined with the delicate scent of jasmine from Allison's garden beds. Inside, Mark and Allison were lost in a world of travel dreams, leaving Jeff and me to explore this tranquil space. He guided me to his struggling roses, their beauty dimmed under the soft glow of string lights. Kneeling down, he examined the leaves, his voice now softer, laced with genuine curiosity. "See how the edges are turning yellow." I leaned in, acutely aware of our closeness, my heart skipping a beat without reason. "They might need more nitrogen." I managed, striving for steadiness in my voice. Jeff turned to me, his expression a mix of seriousness and gentleness. "You know, Melanie, I envy what you and Mark have. After 20 years, Allison and I, it feels like we've drifted." His sudden vulnerability struck a chord within me. "Every marriage has its ebbs and flows, Jeff. It's natural," I reassured him. He nodded, a thoughtful look crossing his face. "Maybe it is, but lately I feel like there's something missing." His eyes, so open and vulnerable, resonated deeply with me. Before I could respond, his hand brushed. As our hands touched ever so slightly, a spark ignited within me. The fleeting, innocent brush sent a thrilling shiver down my spine, a cocktail of guilt and unexpected excitement surging through my veins. "I'm sorry, Jeff." he stammered hastily, withdrawing his hand, his voice laced with genuine embarrassment. I didn't mean to overstep. I paused, my emotions in a whirl. Instinct urged me to withdraw, yet a deeper, more compelling urge pushed me towards kindness. It's okay. I murmured the words, surprising even myself. You're just being honest. Jeff's gaze lifted his handsome face, softening with gratitude. In that quiet moment, we both recognized the palpable tension. Yet there was an undeniable tenderness in his eyes. I felt deeply seen in a manner I hadn't experienced in years, though I didn't yet understand the full depth of this revelation. Returning indoors, Mark's familiar smile greeted me, a comforting beacon, yet it now bore an unfamiliar weight. I stole a glance at Jeff across the room. He had withdrawn, maintaining a polite but noticeable distance. The evening ended on a note of amicability, but my thoughts were ensnared by the intricate dance of emotions that had just unfolded. Later, as Mark lay in peaceful slumber beside me, I found myself staring at the ceiling, my heart restless with questions. Was my reaction merely a response to flattery, an echo of unexpected attention? Or had Jeff stirred something long dormant within me? Could such a brief moment of connection truly unsettle the serene life I had cherished for so long? I realized with a mix of discomfort and curiosity that our predictable, pleasant existence now felt incomplete. Beneath the confusion, I sensed a personal awakening, like a delicate bud unfurling at dawn's first light, fragile yet undeniably alive. I didn't know it then, but this unexpected evening was merely the prelude to a journey of self-discovery, a path lit by subtle glances, lingering looks, and the unspoken bond that now tethered Jeff and me. What lay ahead would test every boundary we had so carefully constructed, compelling us both to face truths we had long avoided. In the wake of that unforgettable dinner, my life seemed to march to the same old beat, mornings spent strolling through the garden, afternoons with a steaming cup of tea and a book, and evenings cozied up with Mark, watching timeless films. Yet beneath this veneer of routine, a quiet storm brewed within me. I found myself incessantly revisiting that moment on the patio, when Jeff's hand brushed mine, and his unexpected confession hung in the air like a delicate fog. Each memory was a spark igniting emotions I had long thought dormant. It had been years since I felt so vividly seen, so profoundly desired, even if just for a fleeting moment. But beneath the rush of these reawakened feelings, there lay a layer of guilt. Mark was my husband, my lifelong companion, and I loved him with all my heart. Yet Jeff's vulnerability, his raw openness, had reached into a neglected corner of my soul. One luminous afternoon, I was tending to my prized lilies, their petals vibrant against the green foliage. The garden, my usual sanctuary of peace and clarity, felt different today. My thoughts were as tangled as the vines around me. "Melanie, you have a visitor." Mark's voice called out from the back porch, slicing through my reverie. My heart skipped a beat, then raced as I turned to see Jeff. There he stood near Mark, dressed in a casual blue shirt and jeans, his face a mix of warmth and caution. My pulse quickened, but I steadied myself, greeting him with a composed smile. "Sorry for dropping by unannounced." Jeff said, his approach deliberate yet gentle. "I was hoping to talk more about those roses, but if you're busy—" "No, it's fine," I answered, perhaps too eagerly, my voice betraying my excitement. Mark, blissfully unaware of the quiet tumult between Jeff and me, chuckled. "I'll leave you gardening experts to it," and retreated back into the house. There we stood, Jeff and I, in a silence heavy with unspoken words, the air around us thick with anticipation. What would come of this unexpected visit? Could our conversation bloom like the flowers around us, or would it wilt under the weight of what was left unsaid? As the birds above sang with a melody of ignorance, the air beneath was thick with a tension that could snap at any moment. Finally, Jeff, with a voice that seemed to carry the weight of his heart, broke through the silence like a sigh in the still air. "Melanie!" He began his words soft, yet laden with sincerity. "I wanted to apologize again for the other night. I crossed a boundary, and the regret has been gnawing at me ever since." I searched his face, where the blue of his eyes mirrored the depths of his remorse. My chest constricted, a strange cocktail of relief and disappointment swirling inside me. "You don't have to apologize," I whispered, my voice barely a breeze. "Nothing happened." Jeff nodded his approach, tentative, his voice a mere whisper on the wind. "But something did happen. We both felt it." His gaze was a magnet pulling me into the sincerity of his confession. "I know it's wrong, Melanie. I've tried to ignore it, but I can't stop thinking about you." He admitted, his voice a blend of earnestness and despair. "I haven't felt this kind of connection in years." A rush of warmth surged through me, only to be quickly doused by a wave of confusion. "Jeff, I'm married. Happily married." I reminded him, my voice a firm anchor in the storm of emotions. "I know." He responded, his tone gentle, almost apologetic. "And the last thing I want is to disrupt your life, but I needed you to know. You've awakened something in me, something I'd forgotten was possible." For a heartbeat, silence enveloped us, broken only by the soft whispering of leaves overhead. My heart pounded, a drumbeat of conflict, torn between the loyalty to Mark and the undeniable pull towards Jeff's honesty. I averted my eyes, emotions clashing like cymbals within me. "I appreciate your honesty," I managed to say, my voice a mere thread. "And I'll admit your words have touched me deeply, but we can't act on this. It's not fair to anyone." Jeff exhaled, a visible struggle playing out across his features. He reached out his hand, finding mine in a gesture both warm and reassuring. His touch was a silent plea, a connection that felt as inevitable as it was forbidden. My fingers instinctively tightened around his. "I respect your decision," he assured me softly, his voice a tender whisper. "All I want is your friendship. If that's all we can have, it's enough." I nodded slowly, though the fervor in his eyes whispered tales of deeper desires. "Friendship," I murmured, my voice barely a whisper as I released his hand, the warmth of his touch lingering on my skin. "Nothing more." The question hung silently in the air, unspoken, yet palpable. The following weeks were a dance of quiet turmoil. Jeff and I exchanged messages discussing gardening tips or making small talk about the weather, each of us careful to maintain the boundaries we had set. Yet, with each brief conversation, the threads of our emotional bond wove tighter, pulling us closer in a way that both thrilled and terrified me. I found myself eagerly awaiting his messages, my heart fluttering with a mix of excitement and fear. One evening, as casually as if discussing the day's news, Mark mentioned that Jeff and Allison would be joining us at a company-sponsored gala downtown. The mere thought of seeing Jeff again, this time in a crowded room where our subtle tension might burst into the open, sent my pulse racing. When the night of the gala arrived, the grand ballroom was alive with the soft lilt of music, the sparkle of lights, and the elegant swirl of couples mingling. Mark, ever the gentleman, guided me inside, his hand, a comforting presence on my lower back, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing within me. My eyes found Jeff immediately across the room, his gaze locking onto mine, igniting a flame deep within my chest. Dinner passed with an effortless flow of conversation among us, yet beneath the polished laughter and polite exchanges, Jeff and I shared fleeting stolen glances. Each look was a silent testament to our longing, each subtle smile a bearer of deeper unspoken meanings. After dinner, as guests drifted towards the dance floor, Mark, always considerate, extended his hand to Allison for a friendly dance. They joined the other couples under the shimmering lights, their laughter echoing softly. Left alone, Jeff and I hesitated for a moment before he gently offered his hand, his voice low and inviting. "May I have this dance?" With a rush of nerves, I tentatively placed my hand in his, allowing him to lead me onto the dance floor. My heart pounded like a drum as we began to sway gently the world around us, melting away until it was just Jeff and me cocooned in our private universe. "You look beautiful tonight," he whispered, his voice a warm, sincere caress. My cheeks flushed, a tide of emotion swelling in my throat, unexpected and overwhelming. "Jeffus?" I started softly, the words catching as I sensed the perilous edge we were teetering on. "We agreed to remain friends." He pulled back ever so slightly, his gaze piercing mine with a tenderness that was both comforting and daunting. "Friendship doesn't blind me to how incredible you are," he said, his voice low, resonating with deep care. "Nor does it stop me from feeling this deeply." We continued our slow dance, the closeness both a balm and a torment. My mind screamed for caution, yet every fiber of my being yearned to close the distance between us, drawn irresistibly to this man who knew the secrets of my soul. The song ended, and we paused, locked in a silent acknowledgement of the boundary we'd just crossed. "I shouldn't feel this way," I whispered, my voice shaky, betraying the storm inside. Yet somehow I can't help it. Jeff's touch was feather light on my cheek, his fingertips igniting a cascade of shivers. "Neither can I," he murmured, "but I respect whatever you decide, I promise." With a heavy heart laden with longing and uncertainty, I stepped away silently, thankful for his respect, yet haunted by the unspoken passion that simmered between us. Rejoining Mark, I donned a mask of politeness, smiling through the confusion. How much longer could I keep the truth from surfacing? Little did I know the events of that night would thrust our delicate relationship towards an even more formidable challenge, a revelation so startling it would alter the course of our lives forever. And you truly won't believe what unfolded next. Days melded into weeks, each adding layers of silent yearning and confusion to my heart as I struggled to suppress the burgeoning emotions within. I tried to bury my emotions beneath the mundane tasks of gardening, the tranquil morning strolls, and the routine dinners with Mark. Yet Jeff's words whispered through the silence of my mind, awakening parts of my soul that had lain dormant for decades. One dreary, rain-soaked afternoon, as I sifted through the memories captured in old photographs in our snug sitting room, the familiar chime of my phone sliced through the stillness. My heart raced an instinctive recognition of who it was. Jeff's message was succinct, yet charged with urgency. "Melanie, can we talk? I promise it's important." My breath caught a cocktail of anxiety and anticipation swirling within. After a moment of hesitation, I replied, "Of course." "Where?" He suggested a discreet coffee shop on the outskirts of town, a place where privacy was possible, yet public enough to respect our marital vows. I consented, my heart thudding with a mix of dread and curiosity, my conscience in turmoil, but yearning to comprehend his sudden need to meet. The cafe enveloped me in its warmth, the rich aroma of coffee mingling with the gentle murmur of hushed conversations. Jeff was already there, tucked away in a secluded corner, his hands clasped tightly, his eyes betraying a fervor I had never witnessed before. "Thanks for coming," he murmured, his voice low as he motioned for me to sit. He appeared tense, yet his resolve was palpable. his expression grave. "What's wrong, Jeff?" I inquired, my voice barely above a whisper, unable to mask my apprehension. "Has something happened?" He exhaled deeply, his fingers threading through his silvered hair, eyes shadowed with pain. "Allison knows," he confessed. My stomach plummeted, my heart pounding in a frantic rhythm. "About us?" I gasped. Jeff nodded solemnly. "She sensed something at the gala. She confronted me yesterday." I couldn't lie, Melanie. I told her everything, how I feel, our conversations, though nothing physical has happened. An icy dread seized my heart, panic surging like a tidal wave. "Jeff, I don't know what to say." "You don't have to say anything," he said gently, his voice a soothing balm to my rising distress. Allison and I had reached a pivotal moment where the air between us was thick with unspoken truths. I needed to lay bare my soul, to speak with a clarity that would guide us through the murky waters ahead. "What comes next?" I murmured, my voice a mere whisper, tinged with dread at the thought of disrupting the serene existence I had so meticulously built. Jeff, ever the anchor, took my trembling hand in his touch a balm, yet a catalyst for the storm brewing within me. His eyes, filled with a mix of compassion and resolve, met mine. "I told Allison I'd respect whatever you choose, Melanie. If you decide to walk away, I promise I'll honor your decision. But if there's even a fraction of the affection in your heart that I feel, then we must confront this head on." His earnestness struck a chord deep within, the sincerity in his voice, the vulnerability in his gaze. It all overwhelmed me. Tears welled up as I fought to articulate my swirling emotions. "Jeff, you've awakened feelings I believed were long buried." I confessed, my voice quivering. "But Mark, he's been my world for over 3 decades. Jeff's hand tightened around mine, his eyes reflecting a profound understanding. "I know, and I would never ask you to betray that bond. Yet can you truly ignore the connection we've discovered? Isn't it worth at least acknowledging?" His question pierced through my defenses, making my heart ache with a longing that clashed with my loyalty. I knew in my heart that Jeff was right. The emotional tether we'd formed, though silent, was undeniably potent. We owed it to ourselves, to Mark, to Allison, to confront this truth. After a heavy silence, I found my voice shaky, yet determined. "I can't deny what I feel. You've rekindled parts of me I thought were lost to time. But the fear of hurting Mark, of losing him, it terrifies me. And I dread causing Allison pain as well." Jeff nodded, the weight of his own feelings etched in his expression. "I feel the same, yet I believe that hiding the truth might wound us all more in the long run. Perhaps honesty will pave the way for all of us to understand what comes next." We sat enveloped in thoughtful silence, the gentle patter of rain outside echoing the soft turmoil within. Gazing out through the rain-streaked windows of the cafe, my heart whispered a truth too heavy to hold. "I need to talk with Mark." I murmured, my voice barely louder than the soft patter of the rain outside. The admission brought both relief and terror. He deserved nothing less than my honesty. Jeff, ever the pillar of support, squeezed my hand with a reassuring warmth, his touch gentle as he released it. "Whatever happens, Melanie, I'll be here." He promised, his voice a soft beacon in my storm of emotions. "Whether as a friend or something more. I won't pressure you, but remember, you're not alone in this." Our parting was wrapped in a silent understanding, a tapestry of emotions, both tangled and clear. Driving home, the gray drizzle seemed to echo the turmoil within. I rehearsed the conversation, dreading it, yet knowing its necessity. Mark deserved the truth, no matter the pain it might bring. That evening, after a quiet dinner, we sat in the living room, the silence heavy with unspoken words. My heart pounded like a drum, anxiety clawing at my insides. "Mark, I need to talk with you," I began, my voice trembling with the weight of what was to come. He lowered his newspaper, concern flickering across his face. "Everything all right, Melanie?" he asked, his familiar, comforting eyes meeting mine. I inhaled deeply, my heart aching. "Something happened recently, something unexpected," I confessed, the words tasting of betrayal. "Nothing physical, but emotionally I felt drawn to someone else." His expression shifted, confusion giving way to a quiet hurt, his voice strained yet gentle. "Jeff." He guessed his intuition, startling me. I nodded, guilt squeezing my chest. "Yes," I whispered, tears betraying my turmoil. Mark exhaled, his eyes distant yet composed. "I noticed something at the gala," he said softly, "the way he looked at you and how you looked at him." My heart broke at his words, my plea barely audible. "I never meant for this to happen. You've been my entire life, Mark. I love you, but this feeling, it's awakened something inside me, something powerful, and I had to be honest." He studied me, his eyes reflecting a quiet sadness. After a moment, he reached for my hand, his touch startling in its gentleness. "I appreciate your honesty, Melanie," he said, his voice a mix of pain and acceptance. The silence that followed was thick with the weight of unspoken words, each of us wrestling with the revelations that had just surfaced. Mark's response, so unexpectedly gracious, pierced through the fog of my guilt like a beacon. "I'm so sorry," I whispered, my voice barely a thread in the quiet room. He shook his head, his voice steady yet gentle. "Don't apologize for being human. 30 years is a long time. Love changes, people grow," he said, his eyes reflecting a depth of understanding that made my heart ache with a quiet, profound sorrow. "Yes, but you deserve honesty," I murmured, feeling the fracture lines of our relationship under the pressure of this new truth. Mark reached for my hand, his touch grounding me. "Take some time," he urged softly, his sigh heavy with years of shared history. "Figure out what your heart truly wants, no matter what I want you to be happy." His words, so full of compassion, shattered the last of my defenses, leaving me awash in gratitude and a deepening sadness. In that moment, I recognized the true strength of our bond, Mark's unwavering respect for me as an individual. We sat in silence, the gentle ticking of the clock, a poignant reminder of how fleeting, fragile, and precious our lives truly are. Whatever decision lay ahead, Mark's generosity had shifted the landscape of possibilities, opening doors I had never dared to imagine before. As the evening light dimmed into the soft embrace of night, I knew that the hardest choices were still to come. The road ahead was uncertain, yet honesty had carved a path toward true self-discovery and growth. But nothing could prepare me for the final revelation that awaited, a truth that would irrevocably alter the course of all our lives. In the weeks that followed that soul-bearing conversation, life took on a surreal, almost dreamlike quality. Each day felt fragile, suspended between the comfort of the past and the uncertainty of the future. Mark and I, through this newfound honesty, spoke of our feelings, fears, and dreams in ways we hadn't in years. Strangely, through this honesty, our bond deepened, even as the path forward remained shrouded in uncertainty. In their quest for clarity, Jeff and Allison bravely embarked on a journey of counseling, delving into the labyrinth of their tangled emotions. Meanwhile, Jeff and I mutually agreed to step back to give each other the precious gift of space, allowing our hearts to reflect without the weight of expectation or the rush of urgency. One luminous afternoon, as I knelt among the whispering plants of my garden, a sanctuary of peace and revelation, Mark approached with a quiet grace, 2 cups of steaming tea cradled in his hands. He settled beside me, the warmth of the mug, a comforting touch as he passed it over. "Melanie?" He started his voice, a tender caress. "I've been pondering deeply." His gaze met mine, a blend of strength and vulnerability swirling in his eyes. I nodded, my heart aflutter with anticipation. "Me too," I murmured, and Mark's smile, soft and familiar, washed over me like a balm. "I've come to a profound realization," he continued. "Our marriage is not just about love, but also about friendship, respect, and honesty. Perhaps after all these years, we need to open up space for each other to find happiness, even if that means embracing the winds of change." Tears welled up, not of sorrow, but of profound gratitude for his openness. "What are you saying, Mark?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Taking my hand with a gentle firmness, he looked into my eyes, his sincerity piercing through. "I'm saying I love you enough to let you explore what your heart truly yearns for, even if it means giving you the freedom to explore your bond with Jeff. Whatever happens, you deserve happiness, as do I." Now, as I sit amidst the vibrant tapestry of my garden, the flowers dancing gracefully in the warm breeze, the truth of our journey unveils itself to me. Life like this garden demands courage, patience, and a willingness to embrace change. Relationships are not merely bound by routine or obligation. They thrive on authenticity, compassion, and respect. Sometimes what seems an insurmountable challenge at first guides us precisely where we need to be. I glance towards the house where Mark, Jeff, and Allison share laughter, their voices a gentle melody in the air. Dear viewers, as we close this chapter of our story, I extend my heartfelt thanks for joining us on this emotional voyage. Your support means the world. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Like this video. If it touched your heart, share it with those who might need to hear this message. And if you haven't yet, consider subscribing to our channel for more stories that resonate with the soul. Together, let's continue to explore the depths of human connection and the beauty of change.